We met a father. The story of Bishop Allan Kiuna through the eyes of Pastor Rogers and Mercy Seda.
Before I connected with my spiritual authority, I was struggling in ministry. I remember I had this church that I was pastoring, and the church was not growing. It was called Where Two or Three Are Gathered. We would have Sunday services, and after the service, there would be a long queue of everybody who had come for the service waiting to be given bus fares to go back home. I would even struggle to pay for the facility myself. I remember we used to pay 3,000 shillings per Sunday, and that 3,000 shillings was a huge miracle. I realized I was not going anywhere. There was something missing. I decided to close that church, and I looked for a spiritual covering. God led me to my bishop, Bishop Allan Kiuna and Reverend Kathy Kiuna, and I submitted under them and served. It was challenging because when I closed, I directed the members of that particular church that I was pastoring to go and submit in Jubilee Christian Church, Ngara at that time. Little did I know that eventually I too, that's the place that God was going to lead me to go and submit. The challenging thing is that I found them there, and then now I had to do broom ministry. And they will watch the one who used to pastor them doing broom ministry with them.
For me, life was, I really began from a humble beginning. I remember growing up in a mud house. We were really poor or humble. And that's where I grew up. I grew up walking to school bare feet and but very hardworking. I grew up also with a lot of responsibilities. I come from a family of 7. I am the 5th born, but as long as I can remember, I grew up with responsibility. In that my mom would leave, like maybe it is the weekend, and she's leaving for her church meetings, and she will leave me responsible for the rest of the siblings, and whatever needed to be done, I would be given the responsibility to make sure that it was done. So that actually stole away my childhood. My life was just work. I didn't get to enjoy myself. I was just, I would wake up in the morning and I would be focused on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And that's how I grew up. And people were not really part of my life, in the sense that as a choleric, you think about what you need to achieve. And for me, I wasn't really good with people then. I'm still working at it now. And it really affected my relationships with people, in that I would prefer to work more with tools and just get things done other than working with people.
Thoughts just flow of their own will. Thoughts about the impact of a father in faith. These thoughts are still with them, the poignant lessons they have picked along the ways as they learn the journey of spiritual parenting. Pastor Rogers and Mercy Seda met a father that made a difference in their walk with God.
Come the year 2000, the month is January, and this is a turning point for me. Somebody invited me to the KICC. There was a meeting going on that had been called by the FEM Evangelistic Ministry. And so I appeared. I was a bit late, and so I had to sit right at the back. And I came in just about the time when they invited the speaker for the day. And I remember Evangelist Teresia Wairimu standing up and inviting the preacher for the day. And she said that the preacher was Pastor Allan, and he was invited, and he was dressed like a Nigerian. He looked to me like a Nigerian, and he started to minister. I will never forget the message. The message was the fire for the millennium. And when he started to speak, I remember I listened to every word. The message is still alive in my spirit. At that particular time, I was really messed up. I knew I was looking for a spiritual father. My life was messed up at that particular time, and I knew I was really looking for one that can raise me up as a father. And as he spoke, I could hear every word, and I knew this is my father, this is my shepherd. Scripture says that my sheep know my voice. I knew this was the voice of my father. The only problem is that he was dressed like a Nigerian. He was introduced as Pastor Allan. And so I told myself, Mercy, Nigeria, here you come. Well, because I was determined. I was like, if he's Nigerian, I am going to Nigeria because this is my father. Mm-hmm. And so after the service, I talked to a few people, and I got to actually understand that, well, he was actually a preacher in the city. And cut a long story short, a few weeks down the line, I was able to locate Jubilee Christian Church, and my life has never been the same again.
While I was seated and serving them, I noticed that just by them taking me through the process of being raised as a son, I was observing a lot of things. There's what is called the power of observation. When you are sitting under a spiritual authority and they are mentoring you, they are training you, you will not realize that there is so much that you are just learning by observation. Many of the things I do today as I pastor the church I'm pastoring here in Kisumu is because of the fact that I learned a lot of things through observation.
The job, the task, and the responsibility of being a father to this couple is probably not anything Bishop Allan had really been prepared for, nor even Pastor Rogers and Mercy. No courses, no lessons or workshops.
They took me in, they corrected me. I remember there were days that I was even suspended. From where I came from, we never saw people being suspended when it comes to ministry. But as far as my spiritual parents, Bishop Allan and Reverend Kiuna were concerned, everything had to be done with excellence, and there was a different ball game as far as the way they were doing ministry was concerned. But as a child in a family, if your father corrects you, you don't run to the neighbor's house and say, now I have shifted. You just remain in your home, remain in your house, and allow your father to raise you and to mentor you. So in spite of the rebukes, I stuck because I knew that there was a place that they were anointed to take me. They were anointed to usher me to my place of destiny.
My life turned for the better. I didn't really know that I was this kind of a person that was totally unapproachable, and this kind of person that really kept people away. And that's how I came in to Jubilee Christian Church, and I'm forever grateful for Bishop and Mom when they received me like that, as this person that wants everybody to stay at bay. I was rude, I was full of attitude, and that's the way I came into the ministry. But I think the greatest responsibility that Mom and Dad had over raising me was to change, to get this person that I am today out. And it wasn't easy, and I didn't even make it easy for them. But at the end of the day, I thank God that I was able to walk that particular walk. One thing that I really would appreciate that I have learned from my mom and my dad is a spirit of excellence. I mean, to him, it is either good or good. There is no gray area. It has to just be good. For instance, there was this one particular instance. Let me just mention this. It's funny. Well, I was supposed to be tiling. We had an office in Gara, and we were doing a lot of renovation. So I was given this assignment, and I was supposed to be tiling a corridor in his, outside his office. And I went. The amazing thing is that I had actually been given the responsibility, and he has even gave me the mandate to go and make the choices. And so I went to the shops and to the tiles shops and chose what I thought was really beautiful. And I came in, and a whole weekend I was actually working on this, and I thought it was really looking beautiful. But come Sunday morning, I'll never forget this. And it was actually after this that I started to pray, Father, give me the heart of my father, so that I would know what he desires and what he likes, so that I can do it as he likes it. And so it's a Sunday morning. I remember it was praise and worship was going on, and it was actually, by the time I was called, it was worship. I was kneeling down, and then somebody tapped me and told me, Dad is calling him. And I thought, well, he must be really pleased with what I did. And so I stood up, stopped praying and stood up and went to his office. And when I entered the office, was so upset. And so upset because I went and took bathroom tiles and put them on the corridor. To me, they looked beautiful, and I thought they were okay, and many other people thought they were okay. But to Dad, they were not okay because they were bathroom tiles. And so we had to actually remove every single tile.
It has been a joy to have Bishop Allan Kiuna and Reverend Kathy Kiuna as my spiritual authority and my spiritual parents. Ever since I met them, I can count my blessings. Through them, I've been ushered into my place of purpose. I never knew that God would send me to come and pastor in the city of Kisumu, but it was through the direction of my spiritual parents. One of the other things that I really struggled in was in the area of getting a wife or getting married. I don't know about the rest, but as for me, I struggled. I'll go round and round and round looking for somebody that I could settle down with in marriage as a wife. And it was really a struggle. But the day I landed in my father's house, the day I connected with Bishop Allan and Reverend Kathy Kiuna, there's just a grace that they carry in the area of marriage. That thing that was hindering me from getting married was just broken the day I connected with them. And my eyes were opened. I stopped seeing sisters like trees, and God showed me a particular lady, and I got married to my lovely wife. So I really thank God for my bishop and my mom, and the grace that they carry is a grace that has made me to be who I am today.
They did the best they could. Bishop Allan did too. Pastor Rogers and Mercy do have the understanding of his upbringing, his sonship to Evangelist Teresia Wairimu, and the way it has all impacted his way of being a father to them.
He served me. He built the platform. He would finish building the platform. He would go under the platform and dress. And he will lead the meeting. He will fix the PA. He will dismantle the PA. We will go home. We didn't have like a whole bunch of workers. Wow. And at night he will count the offering.
Pastor Rogers and Mercy are just a few amongst hundreds of sons fathered by Bishop Allan and Reverend Kathy. The Jubilee Christian Church now has 18 branches spread across the world, local congregation in South Africa, a church in London, and others in the United States. Like the rest of the sons, several years down the line, the couple has begun a new phase in a journey of being spiritual parents to their sons in Kisumu, opening up lessons from their father and fulfilling prophecy.
God has called him to be an apostle. He has that apostolic call. And I sense that it is time for him to step out of the boundaries of JCC into the cities and into the nations. So he has to do the work of an apostle. And the work of an apostle is to raise up and hand it over and keep going. Yeah. Then he comes visiting to make sure like the doctrine of Jesus Christ is people are following the doctrine. So JCC has to understand that God has not just called him to be there for them. Just for JCC Nairobi, because that is too narrow, his vision and call. Yeah, he will touch nations. Yeah, I see him.
Bishop Kiuna has undertaken his fatherhood with commitment, being an example in many ways in excellence, in marriage, and his love for God, displaying attributes that can be well emulated.
I saw a passion and love. I could see a passion for God. And I knew prophetically that he will become a man of God.
Bishop Kiuna, I'm going to keep saying that like the Americans do so that I can really enjoy this day with you. You know, one of the things that I love about you is your passion for God and your fear of God. I've been to many places, I meet many people, I talk to many friends, but there is one person that every time we meet together, we talk the kingdom of God, we talk prayer, we talk the word of God. No room for propaganda, no room for stories, no room for gossip.
I love the fact that my husband truly loves God. Because why? I know and I believe without a shadow of doubt. His love for God is what makes him love me the way he loves me.
If you're not faithful in another man's vision, God will never trust you with your own. So I knew that he was heading somewhere. And even up to today, that he can drop anything to come and serve me. I can call him anytime, anytime. I can wake him up at night and ask for any help, anything I want done. He still feels that he has not outgrown a mentor or a parental, a spiritual authority. And that amazes me.
Pastor Allan, and to your lovely wife, Pastor Kathy, I thank God for you. God has joined you together for a force, for a nucleus of change throughout the kingdom, and we celebrate your success and your continued commitment to each other and to the gospel of Jesus Christ. May God forever bless you. May heaven smile upon you, and I want you to know that my heart is full of love for you. My wife sends her greetings as well. May you continue to do what you do like nobody else can.
Bishop Kiuna has a clear understanding that God has called him to be a father to many sons who must be raised to do the work of the ministry. All associate pastors have grown under his mentorship and that of Reverend Kathy as well. They are faithful proteges and are now making impact in their place of divine assignment. Today, the Jubilee Christian Church Kisumu honors you, Bishop Kiuna, and your dear wife, Reverend Kathy. Our hearts will continue to remain open to those sons you raise in the future generation. And here is Pastor Rogers and Mercy performing the honors.
Dad, you're all that a father is. Strength of a mountain, love that is dependable, wisdom that is rare. Thank you for being my father. Thank you for loving me. I love, I honor, and appreciate you greatly. Thank you for coming. Mom, words would fail me. You're my role model. You're my mentor. Thank you for teaching me worship. Thank you for teaching me submission. I am the wife that I am today because of you. You're the greatest. You're the loveliest. Anyone would desire to have a mom like you. I am forever grateful to God for the day I met you. Thank you for being my mom, and thank you for being here.
Mom and Dad, you are the best. God has given us the best in you. And today, as a house, as Jubilee Christian Church Kisumu, we want to sow a seed of honor in your life. And even as we release this seed of honor in your life, we have received you as the apostles of wealth, and the grace that you carry has transformed many lives. We know that from today, by virtue of this seed that we are sowing as a house, we know that lives will be transformed, destinies will be molded, and as a house, we are going higher. We are going to a dimension that we've never experienced before. Receive our seed of honor.
Lift your voice in a song. The sound of praise, the sound of triumph. As we continue to exalt the name of the Lord together. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name. I will exalt your name.
But the best is yet to come.